At Furfield School in Newcastle, Head of English George Cuthbertson is having a bad day.
Thank you. Rest your arms. I don't care what you've done, just rest your arm. Don't speak, even if you're tempted to, as I won't let you out.
These 11-year-olds in 7W represent Britain's ultimate educational challenge. They've arrived at Furfield, once called the country's worst schools, barely able to read.
Trespassing?
Excuse me? Please don't shout at me, I don't like it. If anybody calls out the answer to this question, you will be in here until 1:05. 30-mile-an-hour signs are found where lots of people live. Built-up areas where there's lots of houses, where there's lots of shops, where there are schools and hospitals. Areas where there are lots of people living together.
I think stop, that's why you have to go 30 minutes.
We're now all staying in for 5 minutes because Christopher Willis keeps interrupting me.
Oh, Chris!
If you wonder who he is, it's the one with the big mouth and the sticky out ears across there. He's the reason you're staying in 5 minutes, okay?
Just him?
Just him, it's his fault. All his fault. Right then. What I would like you to do, these are instructions, right? And this will probably take you till about 1:25. Are you listening to me? Are you playing with your bag? You getting your shopping out or something? What's the matter with that bag? Is there something extremely valuable in it? Okay. Have a nice time, boys.
Soon you can write down here.
Shut up! I've only got one left now. That's 2 of yours I've ripped up. Go and get a piece of plain paper. Sit down, will you?
40 copies.
Spin.
For new head Carol McAlpine and Deputy Lynn Ackland, turning Furfield round is proving a bigger job than they'd thought.
Tons of it. All of the filing for weeks and weeks.
The legacy of neglect is everywhere.
It's just that we've uncovered a whole lot of things that haven't been photocopied, haven't been filed, invoices that haven't been processed, cheques that we've signed to be passed on for payment that haven't been sent.
It's the invoices that
The invoices are desperate.
There's tons in here.
Because we're going to be getting red,
but
you know, red
yeah, but
bills.
we won't know where we are. It's all this here, look.
Heaps of stuff. I mean, it's just, stuff's just been dumped in a drawer to hide it.
12th of the 1st. Oh, goodness gracious me. Well, I'll take this.
What kind of lesson was that, man?
Remember, we're talking about youngsters who don't want to attend school. They don't see the point of coming to school. Their parents don't really value education. Education maybe really did them a disservice in the past. They maybe haven't worked. We really want to change the outlook to education in the whole of this area. It's no quick fix. We can't do it in 2 years, but it's something that over the course of 5, 6 years, we hope we can change the attitudes of the people in the West End of Newcastle.
Before coming under new management, the old Blakelaw School had one of the worst attendance records in the country.
Lindsay!
On average, a quarter of the pupils would be absent every day. Now, as part of the Fresh Start deal, Furfield must get its attendance up. So Education Welfare Officer Judy Clayton goes into the estates around the school trying to track down the truants and the absentees. Like 15-year-old Lindsay Palmer.
I'm going to give up. The problem is this, I'll be perfectly frank with you. It's politically quite sensitive. We have office staff, 3 full-time office staff, who are very willing but not very able, not very skilled. They've worked for the old Blakelaw School. Are you aware of our situation, are you? Yeah. And of course, the systems in place there were appalling. They don't seem to be able to work any systems between them to avoid, duplication of work, etc. Their also filing system seems to be completely up the spout. It seems that they're spending a long time doing very, very, very low-level tasks. But I also think there might be an issue, and hands on, hearts here, of communication between the management and this. There's all those things to look at, really. But what we want is an impartial picture. And they're really nice people.
Hiya, Lindsay. I'm doing well. Lynn's bad. Can I come in? Lindsay, bad in bed.
Mid-morning, and the Palmers are up. Judy finally gets to see Lindsay.
Fast asleep. I came for you this morning. What happened? You must have done.
I didn't.
I rattled and banged and I yelled through the letterbox.
I didn't try it.
But you knew I was coming. Why didn't you get up?
I haven't been well.
Oh, Lindsay.
I haven't.
What was wrong with you?
I've been sick and that.
What do you mean in that?
I've been sick now and I haven't been feeling well.
Thank you. I've asked school if they'll give your mum an appointment to come in. Because it's getting quite serious now, you're not being in.
Pat Davidson has run the school office for 20 years, but the workload has never been greater.
There's more work to be done today.
It's hectic, pressurised, Harassed, I think. Harassed. Oh yes, I've always been in charge of the office. Sharing the work out. But it's just astronomical at the moment. Lots of checks to be paid.
What could be done to help the situation?
Oh, we want a few more bodies in the office. More helping hands.
Do you feel like a lot of pressure on you?
Oh yes, very much so. A lot of pressure. Hello.
Carol's becoming increasingly dissatisfied with the standard of numeracy teaching.
Obviously, the quality of the lessons that they've been getting in numeracy have not been as good as I would hope. And the staff confidence in delivering those isn't as good because the staff haven't had clear instructions from the senior manager that's meant to be monitoring it.
So Carol calls a senior staff meeting with numeracy head Joyce Hogg.
The feedback I've been getting on numeracy is that they don't feel they've got that support. They've got piles of worksheets, but they don't feel they know, they're not clear about exactly where they're going with it and what they should be doing in the lesson.
I have been handing out a lot of worksheets and that needs to change, and it has to be more structured than that.
We've got to monitor. It's okay setting it up, but we've got to know it's actually being delivered for starters. And I've got a funny suspicion that it's not being delivered.
That's not been said to me when I've talked to the coordinators,
Well, but they're not going to tell you they're not teaching it, are they, Joyce? They're not as naive as turn around to you and say, I'm not teaching. By the way, you've given me this numeracy to do and I'm not teaching it. So I think that's the thing that's urgent to get sorted out for this next half term.
Yeah.
Lindsay Palmer hasn't attended school regularly for 2 years, but she's not just staying off. Increasingly, she's expected to run the house for her mother, as well as caring for her nephew and niece.
What time are you at this morning, Lindsay?
9 o'clock. Because Lisa had to go to the post office. She asked us to watch her for her. She woke us up. Didn't go to sleep until about 4 o'clock in the morning or something. I was just watching the telly. What?
Come on, we're going to get wet. Oh, have you not been in since it changed?
Judy Clayton has finally persuaded Mrs. Palmer to attend a meeting with assistant head Linda Halbert. Unless they can find a way of getting pupils like Lindsay Palmer to attend regularly, there's no chance Fairfield will meet its target of improving attendance.
Because you're a bright girl, you were in top sets for everything. What we don't want is for you to leave Fairfield with, you know, how you might see nothing. Now the big problem is you need to be in school, Lindsay, because can you see how this is happening? We've got to crack this attendance thing, and if we can crack it now, at the start of her GCSE courses, and get Lindsay into a regular pattern of attendance.
I think the major problem for Lindsay is first thing in the morning.
Yeah.
I think it always has been.
Right, so what time do you go to bed at night? Late-ish.
Really late. Last night I looked in at 2:30, but she was asleep. But there's been times when I've looked in at that time in the morning and she said I've been sitting drawing or sitting listening to music.
What you've got to do is you've got to set your alarm for different times, haven't you? You've got to set your body alarm to get up early in the morning and go to bed earlier at night.
I couldn't get to sleep last night because it was too hot. But Lindsay's saying it's not my fault, but sometimes it is, isn't it?
We had this discussion about a year ago.
Sometimes it is my fault.
I think also you quite like to have her at home.
Oh, I do.
Yes, and it isn't just Lindsay wanting to be with you, you want to be with her.
And I've never really pushed her to go. And she said, oh, ma, I don't want to go the day I've thought. Oh, right then.
Yeah, exactly.
Rather than saying, oh, you've got to go.
Yeah, but you must.
I know.
If I rang you at 8 o'clock in the morning, would you answer the phone? I'll ring every morning at 8 o'clock for the next few days.
Yeah. Just to give you a bit of a head start.
Everything is priority.
Pat is typing out the job specification for a support service manager, something she's regarded herself as being for the last 20 years.
How would anybody feel if they thought that it was their job that was going? Because I think Pat does think that it's her job that's going. So...
She's upset.
Very upset would you be?
I'm not applying for it.
Aren't you?
No, I'm not applying for it. I feel as if I'm doing the job now.
What will you do then, Pat?
That's to be decided. Haven't decided yet.
Do you want to stay?
Not really. No, don't want to stay.
And 10 past on the clock. I'll give you
Carol McAlpine knows that keeping her promise to improve results at Fairfield will require every teacher to pull their weight. So she and the senior management team are sitting in on lessons to assess the quality of her staff.
The words create a positive image of Wolves.
I'm going to observe a lesson of Linda Halbert's because she's in my faculty, technology. And so she's doing a food year 8 lesson, tasting scrums and testing for snack bars.
Be careful not to handle it too much because the caramel's very sticky. And put it on your tray.
Be there. With your ball because I'm running out.
Done a lot of work, haven't you? Do you like the subject?
If we're talking about content, what happens
Already
next
under
is-
Carol's spotlight for her handling of the school's numeracy policy, Joyce Hogg now has the head watching her teach.
Post 20th century, pre-20th century. Which one means before 1900? Well, 50-50 chance, okay. Okay, 20th century means written before 1900. Post means afterwards, okay?
As the mother of a serial non-attender, Lynn Palmer was taken to court last year in a futile attempt to get Lindsay back to school.
Because I got sent to court for Lindsay not going to school. I told them it was my fault. As his mother keeps off. He says, you mean to tell me you're depriving your daughter education? I said, I don't look at it like that. I went on and on to the judge. And I said, I need our home on me. I said, I don't like being in the house on my own.
Ma, did you pay the fine?
No. I'm not paid a penny of it. That is probably a warrant out for my arrest. Because they keep sending us letters. I'm not bothered. Will somebody get us 2 paracetamol, please?
Marvellous, wonderful, lovely. Absolutely fantastic. Super calm, brill. Absolutely fantastic. Oh!
I'll catch you later on this one.
Okay, righto. I wasn't very disappointed because my lesson plan actually went on a stage further. But there were so many of them. There was only one who'd been here yesterday. The rest hadn't actually even read the poems. So I had to go back a stage, yeah? So that was a bit disappointing.
Oh, you don't like going to school because there's just one teacher you don't like?
One teacher? I don't like any of the teachers. The only teacher that I ever liked in that school was Mr. Hamilton, but he's left.
Lindsay's starting to rebel against her role as mother's help.
See if Maureen's there.
Would she not come in, mate?
You're not even busy, I am.
Hey. Calm down.
Who's thinks I'm a skippy?
She's very cheeky to me. Cinderella, get the window.
You know what it is? You're not big on neighbour.
You can't have a joke with her, you know.
Oh, Chica.
Then did you not feel sorry for me?
No.
The old mother.
Old, how old are you?
44, and I feel 64.
You're looking.
See that she
I'm having a joke.
Joyce Hogg's been called in to hear what the head thought of her teaching.
You didn't meet your objectives at all in the lesson. Huge gaffe.
What was my huge gaffe?
Post-20th century.
Oh, post-19th, yeah. Did I say post-20th?
Yeah, and you've got it written down and everything. And you tried to explain
yeah.
this post-20th century to the kids, and they're all sitting looking at you as if you were on another planet. Ofsted would have failed you.
Really?
On the fact that you got the context wrong into the 20th century business.
Really?
They would have really gone to town on it. And no matter what else followed, because you confused them in that area.
But the 20th century does start from 1900
Yeah,
onwards.
but it's not post-20th century. You know,
but that's what it's classed as in the literary text, pre-20th century and post-20th century.
No, it's pre-present and post is what you would look at.
But in the English literature syllabus, it is classed as pre-20th century and post-20th century. That's what it's
literally,
classed
it means post the year 2000. So you have to be careful at things like that. But other than that, it was a reasonable lesson.
I can't understand why you think I would be failed on it.
Because it's certain you were way off in the wrong context with it being, saying it was after the 20th, and the kids were lost. 2 habits you've got is that you keep on saying yeah and okay. Now, to the extent that I started to keep a tally as it went along, and there were 25 yeahs and 66 okays in the lesson.
Okays from Jonathan.
So, I mean, it was a real, and sometimes you would say to them, okay.
And something you're not conscious of doing
no,
yourself
you're
in
not,
the classroom.
until somebody actually listens. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Lindsay's 17-year-old brother, Stephen, was also a non-attender at the old Blake Law School. In fact, all Lynn Palmer's children have had checkered school careers.
Stephen's 17 now. His behaviour used to be terrible, him.
He's been in jail twice.
He was bright as a button and all. And they used to learn him all things at Montague. And they taught him how to play backgammon. And used to play it with the teachers and everything and win. He loved it. And that Blake Law School, he just used to run riot in there. There was no good him being there. But at the finish he got expelled.
He got expelled twice from that school, didn't he, Matt, for burgling it?
And he's got a girlfriend and a baby.
Lindsay's brother Scott has serious problems too.
I've never had a job since I left school.
And how old are you now, Scott?
20. I got knocked out when I was 6, playing chicken. I was in a coma for 3 months.
But after that, he just couldn't do it anymore. He was like somebody different altogether. So now he goes to this John Morley place, but they've helped him a lot, haven't they?
Just 1-to-1 for me reading. I'm only there 2.5 hours a day from 10 o'clock till 12:30.
Having assessed their colleagues' teaching skills, senior staff now report back to the head.
Do we want to take 10 minutes and look at just a general feedback from your departments on, you know, I think just to give us a flavour.
4 lessons observed, 2 satisfactory, 1 good, 1 very good.
Where's very good?
George.
I saw 8 lessons. All the lessons were satisfactory or above, not many above, to be quite honest. Planning was evidence, but the lesson objective writing was very weak, and the direction of the lessons wasn't clear from the plans.
In her absence, Joyce Hogg's lesson is also on the agenda.
That's good. I saw a borderline lesson with a Year 11 group from an absent colleague.
No.
Yeah.
It was bad. Lack of preparation.
For Lindsay, it's just another day out of school, much like any other.
Stephen's been locked up. Well, I don't know. Right, Tro. I will.
Lindsay's mum was told of Stephen's arrest by his girlfriend, Tanya.
He's up a court in the morning.
Aye.
He's asked to bring some cigarettes and some food down at the West End because he'll be in till tomorrow morning.
He'll get remanded, won't he?
I don't know.
I says just leave him alone, man.
I haven't seen you or Stephen for a long time. Just renewed my acquaintance again.
He's locked your daddy up, him, that man.
I'll speak to you probably tomorrow.
He'll get remanded now, and I'm not going to court. I'm not. I've went too many times. I'm sick of going. I've been to their courts and broke my heart and cried, but he just does one thing after another because he's got to do it. Because he's so much into this stinking heroin. It's got that much of a hold on him. He's so addicted to it, he's just going to steal and steal and steal to get the money to buy it. And it's just killing him. Auntie. She is just, you know, when I very first seen her, you would not believe how different she looked.
All right.
She used to be, I used to see, she's really attractive. She used to have this really lovely long hair, was dressed lovely.
Yeah, 1 month.
She used to have a little bit of makeup on, she was really so nice.
Who's this
And when I look at her now, it's like looking at 2 different people.